G'day everyone, welcome to Tassie Rules, the NTFA Footy Show. Great to be back with you. Episode 6 already. The season is starting to motor along. We are here, of course, with thanks to DLM Machinery, and we've got plenty to get through on the footy front once again tonight with the NTFA. We'll have our club in focus very shortly as we look at a club that, means a lot to their community, and a big event coming up a little bit later on in May. So we look forward to digging into that one as well. Women's football, plenty to look at and discuss as well in local NTFA women's footy. And we'll get on to the leaderboards in the MVPs and plenty of other topics to talk about tonight as well. But as we do every week, with thanks to Little Rivers Brewing Company and Crafty Cut Range, it's time for our photo of the week. It has been sent in to us by Angela Creswell, and a very happy young lady here. This is Cleo Creswell. She kicked 10 goals for her team, the Meander Valley Suns, in their win over the East Coast Swans at Westbury last weekend. Now, we've been told that Cleo is the very first women's player at Meander Valley to kick 10 or more goals in a match, and got a couple of people onto the records in the NTFA women's comp as well to see if there are any other women that have kicked more than 10 goals in a game. We'll let you know next week when we find out. But Cleo is our photo winner of the week. Angela has got the prize pack with thanks to Crafty Cuts. I'm sure she'll share that with Cleo. But as always, if you want to get involved, please send us your favourite photo from the upcoming round of footy, wherever you might be in Tasmania. We've got one or two other pics to show you during the show as well that were sent in, so stick around for that. And you could be a winner with thanks to Little Rivers in Scottsdale and Bridport. All right, quick break. When we come back, it's our club in focus for this week with thanks to Harrison Agents.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
Welcome back to the NTFA Footy Show with thanks to Harrison Agents. Now it's time for our weekly segment of Club in Focus. And as you can probably tell by my guest here next to me, it is time to focus on the Rochalee Football Club. Graham Gardner is the president, and a very highly respected man he is within the NTFA community as well. We'll get onto that a little bit later. But good to see you, mate. Welcome to the NTFA Footy Show. Thanks for being a part of the show. It's good to get you on.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rick. I think, we all have an obligation to football, and promoting football is a way of getting new participants, especially the younger age. So glad to be part of this process, and great to see the NTFA supporting your actions.
Thank you. No, it's great to be able to do this as well. We're all passionate about the footy, and speaking of passionate about the footy, Rochalee Football Club got a great history, and particularly over the last decade or so in the NTFA as well. We'll get onto that a little bit, but I'm interested with, from your perspective, how important this football club is to the community, the northern suburbs of Launceston, because it is a bit of a hub, and it's a great meeting point for people. But tell us about how significant it is for the club and the people of the area.
Yeah, look, I think I'm a very strong believer that clubs must be part of the local community. And the reason I say that, people need something to go to, need something to believe in, and something that they can be proud of and enjoy. And one of the things about football clubs, the old days of, playing footy, having a beer, they're gone. It really has to be family orientated now. And we need to be inclusive, because our social standards are changing, and the clubs need to embrace that and be part of that process. But also there's an opportunity to take on a lead role in the community, because you're right, it is football clubs are a hub. There's opportunity for employment. There's opportunity to learn skills, have something to do on that day, be a part of something, or just sit back at home. So our mindset's been that way for a number of years now, and hence we've made some hard decisions at the club about the type of people we want, and the fact that we want a facility that is deserving of people of that area. And so we've made some hard choices, and we've we are benefiting in a way that the pride in that community has really kept a lot of our players together and kept a lot of our community members coming along.
We'll get on to some of these because I've seen it obviously firsthand with my role with the NTFA over the last few years of the great things that are happening in the community and within the football club as well. But on the ground, touched on it in the intro, there's been a lot of success. Obviously some, losing a couple of grand finals as well, most notably last year, but winning 3 in a row, 2011, 12 and 13. And without trying to embarrass the opposition you had that day, I think you won each of those grand finals by over 12 goals. So I may just keep their names quiet because they may not want me to dig that up. But then, of course, last year, losing to Longford, but it was a great example of how far the NTFA has come. It was a cracking game of football, played in front of over 6,000 people, and so good to have it back on UTAS Stadium. And as someone who's been involved in football as a player and now as an administrator, how big is it for football to see that the NTFA, with grand finals at least at the moment, being able to be played back at the home of football?
Yeah, look, football has its journeys, and we had a great success there between 2011 and 2013.
Sorry to interrupt. Look at those great shots there, aren't they?
They're looking good.
There's
there, the
team.
boys.
Yes, so some great memories. But go on.
And look, we also won in 2016.
Yes.
Played last year, but a lot of it is about maintaining a club culture, maintaining a desire for players to want to remain at the club, especially coming through the under-18 process. In the early days, were through under-19s. So a lot of our players have done that. So that's good. But I think in those early years when we were dominant, along came South, they were dominant, and it's great to win, but in the bigger picture of football, we needed to change that. And I think the point system and now the salary cap opens it up for genuine opportunities for all clubs to aspire for a grand final victory. And Longford, I congratulate them last year. That was their first win for
32 years.
32 years.
Amazing.
You can't knock a club for that.
No.
We've seen clubs this year already. Who's the favourite? We don't know yet. So to me, I think footy's a winner when we go through those processes, and hopefully we'll be part of that at the end of the pointy end.
I think so. You like to just sneak along, don't you? A little bit, tease a little bit early in the season. I'll mention it a little bit later when we look at our previews, but a bit of an inconsistent start to the season for the side, but you always seem to be able to peak at the right time of year. So we'll wait and see. It's going to be a great season. I think you're right. It's very hard to pick who at this early stage who's going to be the favourite, and you've got improving sides like Hillwood and, of course, Bracknell up there after winning premiership a couple of years ago. It's going to be fantastic. Let's get on to the Aboriginal round. This day, Sunday, the 28th of May, it's fair to say it's probably one of the bigger calendar events on the NTFA football scene every year, and you are the leader of this. And I'm really keen for our viewers to get an understanding of where this idea came from, because it's a great celebration, it's a great acknowledgement. But where did this begin?
I think in 2008, I spoke to then President Jeff Lyons about we should do something to celebrate the contribution of Aboriginal footballers in the competition. It's following along the AFL process. Jeff was keen. He said, "Oh, give us a proposal." So I wrote a proposal. Then I took it to the Aboriginal community and really spoke to them about, is this the right thing to do? Are we doing it justice? And is it in keeping with honouring those people, especially those who had passed? And we got that signed off. So I went back to the NTFA, and fantastic that the NTFA board said, yes, we will do it. We'll fully support it. We will make this a regular event. And it was a matter for Rachel Lee to, as the host, to lead the way each year. And we're growing on our journey. And but one of the great things we've done was to suggest that we should have Aboriginal legends of the NTFA, and we nominated 5 in the early years, and in recent years we nominated Smokey Beaton and Brett Mansell, and the NTFA has adopted that, and I think that shows about a genuine commitment to making that acknowledgement, and it's something that the AFL doesn't do. And I think we should be proud of as a NTFA, and the fact that those that I've spoken to have been prepared to nominate those quite worthy.
We're going to take a look at the jumpers for this year that the team will be wearing. Of course, you're going to be taking on Bracknell this year, have been a great advocate and supporter as well. But there are the jumpers for this year. Now, do you want to just explain to us a little bit about, I guess, the significance and the design and what that resembles for 2023?
Yeah, the design was created by my son Danny. He quite prominent in this space of Aboriginal designs, and he looked at a theme which talks about how the oceans and the rivers have had such an impact on Aboriginal culture. And there you see the different shell types referring to middens, but also incorporating in quite a unique design this year was the fact that the sponsors and the NTFA have had their logos, I call it Aboriginalised.
Yes.
So in keeping with the whole theme, and it was great to see that thought being taken on by those involved, and especially the NTFA. It's something new, but it's something that they've embraced, and I think it just shows about the connection that not only for Rochely but the Aboriginal community, but the NTFA is really opened up to really embrace all the differences that we have in our competition and promote that.
Pretty stunning. Love the fact that the jumper we're using is using number 33 on the back, of course, made famous by Cyril Rioli, Graham. So we're just throw in Hawthorn a little bit there as well, but wonderful number.
Yes, and Luke Purden from Rochely is quite honoured to have that as well.
I bet.
So,
yeah, fantastic. Now, last year, of course, we had Michael Long down here for the long walk. We got a few pics from there as well. I don't think we'll show the video that when we were walking along the Lydydale Road there towards the ground, because we 10 minutes after those photos were taken, where we didn't have a drop of rain, we had the mother of all rainstorms, didn't we? We were absolutely drenched out of our skin, but that's how it should be. It was the footy season, but this was a very significant day, and a thrill to have Michael along. And every year we obviously get some great guests as part of it as well coming down, so we're looking forward to that. I want to finish off, Graham, more on a personal note as well. You were the recipient last year of the Clary Boone Memorial Award at the end of season NTFA Awards night for your great services and contributions to football, not only to the Rochely Football Club, but football in general. And I think the overriding thing that I heard from a lot of people at other clubs is the fact that you're always there to help them as well, to better their club, to better them as people and as a football club. And there you are with the Clary Boone Award, of course, father of the late, or father, of course, Clary no longer with us, father of David Boone. But I know you don't do any of this for self-gratification or personal accolades, but what did that mean to you?
Well, it's great to be recognised for your efforts, and especially by your peers. I think that's probably the humbling part of it. But irrespective of that, you must have motivation and an aspiration, and that comes from those you deal with. I know that from the Rochely Football Club, from those who I want to make them proud of what their club stands for, and I have a position in life where I feel that I should use it for the better good. And in dealing with other clubs, I'm constantly talking to other presidents and such, because we also have an obligation for our competition to be good. And Scott Rigby's always, as the president of the board, he's always open to conversation. So I think we've got to communicate a lot to ensure that we don't find there's issues arising that may be detrimental to what we're doing. But also we've got to look to the future, but also in doing so, make sure all our clubs come with us. And it was great to see Bridport up and going again, and we're playing our small role with that. We've got them using our facilities as they require, because that's best for football. It's good for them, of no hindrance to us. And so I think that comes again from having connections with different people in different clubs. You build those friendships. And I noticed an early photo there earlier on with the day we played Longford when it rained that day, and Archie was there. He was walking together. He said, "This is getting too wet," so he took off and left me behind. But it's those relationships that
good moments,
at
aren't
the
they?
end of a grand final, there we were, two mates shaking hands because he deserved it.
Brilliant.
So.
Well said. Graham, terrific to catch up. Thank you for what you're doing, but also what Rochalee Footy Club's doing, not only for the competition, but obviously for the community out there. So 28th of May, there'll be a lot more coming up on our social media page, also through the NTFA, of what promises to be a great day. Rochalee versus Bracknell. There is a women's game happening as well in the lead up to it. So a lot more details to come. So make sure you keep following the page. We'll have it with you. Graham, thanks for being with us. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Graham Gardner joining us. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's women's footy with thanks to Cleanaway.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
And welcome back to the NTFA Footy Show. With thanks to Cleanaway, it's time now to have a look at women's football for this week. A few rounds in and things already getting quite interesting on the ladder. We're going to start off with the Premier Division because last week actually saw a top of the ladder clash, and that was at Invermay Park between Old Launcestonians and Bridgenorth. So if we do take a look at the ladder, as you can see, Bridgenorth now on top of the table. They are now the only undefeated side in the competition, courtesy of their 21-point win over last year's grand finalists, Old Launcestonians. So a great start to the year for the Parrots, 3 from 3. South Launceston, interesting one there as well. They are into 4th place after scoring their first win of the season last week. Of course, promoted from Division 1, so they're one win from there. 2 matches, and Scottsdale and Launceston bringing up the base at the moment, both still looking for their first win. Old Scotch also going very, very nicely at the moment in 2nd position, and they're on 2 wins from 3. So if we have a look at what's coming up this week in the Premier Division of the NTFA Women's, all the matches are happening on Saturday, and there should be some great games here as well. Old Launcestonians are taking on Scottsdale. That is at Invermay Park, getting underway at 10:25. As I mentioned, Scottsdale searching still for their first win of the season, and Old Launcestonians will certainly be looking to bounce back after their loss last week to Bridgenorth. Should be a good game there at the beautiful deck at Invermay Park. Bridgenorth, well, they are taking on Launceston. Huge task ahead for the Blues. They are the reigning premiers. Obviously, some huge changes in personnel this year, and they're going to be really up against Bridgenorth, looking to maintain their winning streak to the 2023 season. Really looking forward to this game, 10:55 on Saturday morning up at the Youngtown Oval. The Bulldogs, South Launceston, are going to be taking on Old Scotch as well, who are second on the ladder, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. So that should be a great game. Probably the pick of the 3 games in the NTFA Women's Premier Division this week. So get on out to those games if you can this weekend as well. Now, we're going to move our attention to Division 1 and take a look at the ladder here as well, because pretty tight start. You can see by the table there, we've got 3 undefeated sides, Meander Valley and also Georgetown and Deloraine, who just had the bye in the first round. So they have just played their first match last week, had a big win there. So Meander Valley are going to be taking on Evandale this week. Now, the Suns are coming off a very big win last week against the East Coast Swans. This will be a much tougher task for them. They're 1-1 Evandale. They went down last week to Georgetown. So that game out at Westbury on Saturday at 10:25. Then at 12 o'clock, this is actually a Sunday match, so just so you're aware, Sunday down at Hillwood. Now, these 2 clubs, massive rivalries, a battle of the East Tamer. It is Hillwood taking on Georgetown. And should be a cracker. The Saints are in very good form. 2 wins from 2 matches to start season 2023. Hillwood coming off the bye last week. They only lost to Meander Valley in round 1 by 3 points. So this should be a very good game of football on Sunday afternoon out at Hillwood. And the final match, now this is happening at 3:30 p.m, 3:30 out at Deloraine. Deloraine playing the East Coast Swans, a big trip from St Helens for the Swanettes. And that should be a great game as well, with Deloraine coming off that win last week and looking to maintain it. So it should be a good contest between those teams. So plenty to look forward to on the NTFA women's front in both the Premier Division and Division 1. Let's have a look at the MVP and how that's travelling along. The votes are in for last weekend's rounds of matches, so we can have a look at the Premier Division first of all. And you can see there that Bridgenorth's Emily McKinnell, she is the outright leader now on 10 votes. Had a very good weekend after picking up 3 against Old Launcestonians. Speaking of OLs, last week's winner, Jennifer Guy, she drops down to second, just a vote ahead of Old Scotch's Maggie Cuthbertson and also Bridgenorth's Alice Robinson. They're a vote back on 8 votes there. So very tight though, as you can see, between the top 6, just 4 votes separating them. Early stages of the NTFA Premier Division MVP for the women. Turning our attention now to Division 1 and the MVP, we can see that Georgetown's Jodie Clifford, and of course coach of the Devils, she picked up another 3 votes on the weekend in her side's win over Evandale. So she is on 9 votes. And Georgia Rowley continuing her good form for Evandale. She is in second on 6 votes. And Delorain's Hannah Mitchell-Grimer, she had a terrific match last week against Longford, polled 5 votes. She is sitting in 3rd place with Georgetown's Taisha Hines. Very consistent player, 1 back on 4, but a nice little lead there for Jodie Clifford to get things going for her season early on, amongst the coaching commitments of the Tassie Devils girls team as well. Very busy lady, but still showing plenty of class on the football field as well. Now, before we go to the break, some very sad news in the last couple of days. On Sunday night, with the sudden passing of Lynn Rigby, known to many, many people around football in northern Tasmania. She dedicated her life to the Evandale Football Club, the best pumpkin soups going around. People would travel from near and far of those home and away games to get Lynn's pumpkin soup in particular. Now, we send our sincere condolences, of course, to NTFA President Scott Rigby and the entire Rigby family, and also everyone associated with the Evandale Football Club on the very sad news of Lynn Rigby passing away on Sunday night. We're going to take a break, back shortly.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
All right, with thanks to Crafty Cuts, it's now time to take a look at men's footy in the NTFA. Huge weekend of matches coming up. We might start off with the ladder in the Premier Division first of all and check out how that's looking in the early stages. And as you can see, Hillwood absolutely flying at the moment. They are 4 wins from 4 matches. Hot on their tails though, Bracknell on 12 points, 3 from 4. And then rounding out the top 5, it's a 3-way tie at the moment between last year's premiers Longford, last year's grand finalists Rochalee, and also Deloraine, all with 2 wins. Longford with a game in hand, having had the bye already as well. And then we have South Launceston, Bridgenorth and Scottsdale, all with 1 win apiece, and Georgetown still looking for their first win of the season. So let's get on to this weekend's matches. We've got a full round of games coming up on the weekend. It starts on Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock this match out at the Deloraine Football Club. A little bit of a change of times because the women will be playing at 3:30 on Saturday. But Deloraine are taking on Scottsdale. Big game, this one for both sides. The Kangaroos, as we saw on the ladder, they're sitting 2 wins from 2. They'll be happy with that, with the start of the year that they have had. And sitting 5th, Scottsdale, well, they are still in search of their first win since round 1. So big trip for the Magpies into Deloraine, but should be a good game of football and could be a bit greasy on the weekend as well. So that will test them. Now the next one, Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock up at Rochalee. It's the City Tigers and the Country Tigers, a repeat of last year's cracking grand final at UTAS Stadium, and this should be another great affair. Rochalie been very inconsistent to start the year. Loss, win, loss, win. And Longford, well, they have just got the one loss, and that was by a point to Bracknell in what has arguably been the best game of the season so far. Longford, couple of injuries to come out of that match as well. So this is going to be a great game, but I think Rochalie last week just starting to hit their straps and have been a bit slow starters in the past. And of course, we all know what they did last year, making it through to the grand final. Now, also on Saturday afternoon at Bridgenorth, it is the Parrots taking on Hillwood. Can Hillwood continue their unbeaten run to the season? That is the big question. They've recruited well, they're playing well, and looking very strong at the moment. Now, Bridgenorth lost their first two, but then shocked South Launceston a fortnight ago with a very good win. They're coming off the bye. They will be fresh, and this should be quite a good game of footy on Saturday afternoon down at Bridgenorth on the West Tamar. And then South Launceston are taking on Georgetown. That's also at 2:30 on Saturday afternoon. South had a terrific win to start the season over Rochalie, but Len lost to Bridgenorth, but only went down by 10 points to Hillwood at Hillwood last week. So they'll take a little bit out of that, and they should be a bit too strong for Georgetown, but the way the Premier Division season is going should be a great game of footy. So we're looking forward to some great games in that one as well. Now, Men's Division 1, that is also some very interesting results last week, and we can see what that's done to the ladder, but we've got Old Scotch on top of the ladder on percentage from Perth. Now, who would have thought probably pre-season that Perth would be sitting on top of the table equally with Old Scotch? 3 wins from 3 matches, and they have recruited well, have Perth, but they are flying at the moment. Good win over their arch rivals Evandale last week. St Pat's, Lilydale and Evandale round out the top 5, 2 wins from 3, and then Old Launcestonians, Uni, and who got their first win of the season last week, and East Coast on 4 with Bridport and Meander Valley rounding out the table. So looking ahead at this week, Saturday afternoon, it all gets underway at Westbury, and the Meander Valley Suns taking on the East Coast Swans. And Meander, well, they were beaten easily last week by the University of Tasmania. I think it's been a couple of years between drinks for Meander, and well, they've got an opportunity. East Coast on 1 win at the moment. They will be playing at home, but based on their form last week, this is going to be a pretty tough one for Meander, and it'll be a hard one. East Coast Swans looking for their 2nd win of the season. Now, Bridport, they have got a very tough challenge coming up at home. Of course, back in the NTFA this year, they will take on Old Scotch, unbeaten in season 2023. That's at Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Big night coming up for them after that as well, with the front bar Bridport style. A few of the old Brisbane Lions boys there, including Simon Black. Should be a cracking night. Perth take on UTAS. So UTAS will be pretty buoyant after last week's, and they win, but they've also been pretty competitive in a couple of their matches, but up against a side that have been very impressive. 3 wins from 3 to start the season, including a very good victory over Lilydale in round 2 out at Lilydale. Speaking of Lilydale, they take on St Pat's on Saturday afternoon. Big match this one as well. 3rd versus 4th. Both with 2 wins from their 3 matches. Should be an absolutely cracking game. Lilydale have been such a powerhouse of the NTFA Division 1 over a number of years, and this should be a cracker against the reigning premiers out there on Saturday. And to round out the matches, Saturday afternoon, Invermay Park, Old Launcestonians will take on Evandale. It is 6th versus 5th. Evandale and OL's 1 win and suffered a loss last week. Evandale did as well to Perth, the bitter rivals there of those 2 teams. So it should be an absolute cracking game, that one at Invermay Park as well. Now, we do want to congratulate someone, and that is Trent Griggs, who racked up his 100th game last weekend for the Lilydale Football Club. Congratulations to him, but he did it in fine style as well, because he kicked a bag of 6 goals. 6 goals, 2. And for good measure, he's got the beer in hand, but he's also got the match day footy, and you can maybe just make it out there inscribed 6 goals, 2 that he kicked, getting to keep the match ball as well for 100 games. So well done to Trent Griggs on that, and a big thank you for that photo coming in too as well. That one provided to us based on the great effort and achievement for Trent last week. MVP last year in Division 1 as well, I might add. So a fine player for the Lilydale Football Club. All right, let's have a look at the MVP now for the Men's Premier Division, and we can check out the votes there on the leaderboard. Josh Woolley from Bracknell is our new leader. He's on 14 votes already. He picked up 5 votes on the weekend in the Redlegs win over Scottsdale. And Hillwood coach Jake Pearce is a big mover as well. 6 votes he's collected. He moves into second on 11. He's there with teammate Jacob Boyd is a vote further back on 10, along with Rochely's Jordan Cousins, of course, winning the MVP last year as well. So very, very tight there, and some quality players. We'll get onto the quality players shortly when we talk about the rep series, but let's quickly look at the Bogues MVP in Division 1, the leaderboard as it stands. The milestone man, there he is again, Trent Griggs from Lilydale on 13. He is leading by 3 votes there on the table as at the moment from Perth's William Haley, and also John McKenzie from Old Scotch there on 10 votes. So 3 votes separating those 2. All right, to finish off the show today, I've just touched on a moment ago, of course, we have got the rep series coming along. There is nothing better than representative football, and the NTFA this year are going to be taking on the NWFL. This is going to be out at the magnificent Devonport Oval on May the 20th. We've got the under-18s as well as the men's senior squad. We can have a look at the squad there. Absolutely magnificent squad that they've assembled. I know when the coach Lockie Dornoff put the call out there, he nearly had every man to a T come back and commit to being a part of it and wearing the NTFA jumper. We can see Luke Murphy-Cohen there from Longford. They're well represented with Josh Frankham, Jack Denellen as well. And great to see Jordan Cousins of Rochely. And top of the table, Hillwood, some great representation there at Isaac Thompson, Hamish Leadham, Jack Tuddill, of course, who's come over from Launceston, TSL Premiership winning player, Jacob Boyd as well. And all the clubs there represented. We've got St. Pat's as well with Cal Harrison and Jake King making the cut in the squad for them as well. Charlie Eastoe from Old Scotch Division 1, and also Matthew Warren from Perth. So great to see some of our Division 1 players part of that NTFA squad. The training commences for them next week, and they'll go through until the 18th of May before they play on the 20th. Now, our under-18 squad has also been announced. They will play the NWFL on that day as well. And taking a look there at our representatives, some good young quality footballers there. One who's been in great form is Finn Gutwin, son of Peter out at Bracknell, has been playing very well in his first season, moving across from North Launceston, and a very strong squad there. Ollie Woodcock-Davis from South Launceston, Ollie Alexander. The reigning premiers, of course, in the under-18s as well, South Launceston, have got, 5, 6, 7 players in that squad. Bridgenorth part of that grand final last year. Josh Corkery, Caden Apted, Corey McCormick and Jack Stedman making the squad as well, and Logan Jones from Georgetown. So a great squad there of the under-18s. So get down to Devonport if you can on May the 20th and see some great representative football. I know a lot of people love to see it. All right, that is just about all we've got time for on the NTFA Footy Show this week, with thanks, of course, to DLM Machinery. Get in touch with us. Let us know what events you've got coming up, and we will get them across here on the show, and make sure you send us all your footy photos. But once again, with thanks to DLM Machinery, thank you for your company. And I might just add as well, next week, of course, there is a lot going on with our AFL team at the moment here in Tasmania with this team and, of course, the stadium. We're across it, and we are looking forward to having a very special guest joining us on the show next week. Do not miss it. We'll see you next week on the NTFA Footy Show.